Welcome to an exploration of a topic that touches us all at some point. Understanding the subtle signals our elderly loved ones may exhibit as they approach the final chapter of life. Many of us hold the belief that death in old age arrives abruptly, like a sudden storm disrupting a calm day. However, the reality unfolds differently. The body, in its wisdom, often begins to whisper warnings months, sometimes even a full year, before life gently fades. These signs are quiet, easily mistaken for the natural wear of aging, and frequently overlooked until hindsight reveals their significance. By then, the opportunity to prepare, to offer care, to create lasting memories, or to ensure comfort has often slipped away. In this discussion, we will carefully examine 5 key indicators that may emerge in the year leading up to an elderly person's passing. Some of these changes might already be familiar to you, perhaps brushed aside as minor quirks of growing older. Others may surprise you, revealing how seemingly small shifts can point to the body's gradual decline. Recognizing these signals is not about dwelling on loss. Instead, it empowers you to act with purpose, to provide thoughtful care, to cherish meaningful moments, and to ensure your loved one's final days are wrapped in dignity and peace. Our goal is clear and practical: to equip you with knowledge so you can face this journey with clarity and compassion, rather than being caught unprepared. As we proceed, we'll break down each sign logically, offering insights into what's happening beneath the surface and how you can respond effectively. Stay with us through this guide, because understanding these 5 signs can transform how you support those you hold dear. Let's begin this journey together, step by step, with an open heart and a steady mind. Number 1, significant weight loss. As we embark on examining the first sign, let's consider a change that often creeps in unnoticed. Significant, unintentional weight loss in an elderly loved one. This isn't the gradual thinning that sometimes accompanies aging, but a more pronounced shift that catches your attention over time. You might notice their clothes hanging looser, a belt needing an extra notch, or a once hearty appetite fading into disinterest. At first, it's tempting to attribute this to the natural course of growing older, a simple explanation that feels reassuring. Yet the truth reveals a deeper story. Unexplained weight loss in the elderly is rarely a benign occurrence. It often serves as an early signal that the body is entering a phase of decline, potentially within the final year of life. Let's explore why this happens with a clear, analytical lens. The body relies on a delicate balance of nutrients to maintain its strength: proteins, fats, and carbohydrates fueling muscles, organs, and energy reserves. As life nears its end, this balance can falter. Digestion may slow, meaning food isn't broken down as efficiently, and nutrients aren't absorbed into the bloodstream as they once were. Muscles begin to waste away, not just from inactivity, but because the body struggles to process protein effectively, leading to a loss of mass and vitality. This isn't a minor adjustment. It's a sign that essential systems are quietly winding down. Consider the physical consequences that follow. With less muscle strength, everyday tasks like rising from a chair or walking to the kitchen become daunting challenges. The risk of falls increases as stability wanes, and a weakened frame leaves the immune system more vulnerable to illness. For example, a simple cold that once passed quickly might now linger, taxing an already fragile body. But there's more to this sign than just mechanics. Appetite often diminishes in tandem with these changes, and it's not merely a matter of preference. The elderly person may find that food loses its appeal, taste fades, textures feel off, or the effort of eating outweighs the enjoyment. Physiologically, the body may no longer signal hunger as it once did. a subtle indication that it's preparing to require less fuel. Emotionally, this can be distressing for families. You might try coaxing them with favorite dishes, perhaps a warm slice of apple pie or a hearty bowl of soup, only to see them push it away. It's natural to feel helpless, to wonder why they won't eat more to regain their strength. Here's where understanding shifts our approach. Forcing large meals or insisting on supplements might not reverse the trend and could even cause discomfort if the body can't handle the load. Instead, a logical response is to pivot toward comfort, offering small, easy-to-digest portions like a spoonful of mashed potatoes or a sip of broth. Hydration becomes equally critical. A glass of water or a soothing herbal tea can sustain them more gently than a heavy meal. Reflect on this for a moment. If you've noticed your loved one shedding pounds without trying, perhaps their cheekbones seem sharper or their hands feel frailer, it's time to pay attention. This isn't just about appearance. It's the body sending a message, a quiet alert that its needs are changing. Take Maria's story as an example. Her family dismissed her weight loss as a sign of age until she dropped nearly 15 pounds in 6 months, her energy fading alongside her appetite. Looking back, they realized this was the first clue of her decline, a signal they could have used to prepare more intentionally. Your response can make a difference. Consulting a doctor to rule out treatable causes, like depression or an undiagnosed illness, is a practical first step. If no clear fix emerges, shift your focus to quality of life, ensuring they're comfortable, nourished in ways they can manage, and surrounded by care. This sign, though subtle, offers you a window to act with purpose, to preserve their dignity as their body transitions. By recognizing significant weight loss early, you gain the chance to make every remaining moment meaningful, a gift of clarity amidst the uncertainty of life's end. Number 2, extreme fatigue and weakness. Let's now turn our attention to the second sign, one that often emerges with a quiet persistence: extreme fatigue and weakness in an elderly loved one. This isn't the kind of tiredness that follows a busy day, easily remedied by a good night's sleep. Instead, it's a profound exhaustion that lingers, a heaviness that makes even the simplest actions feel like climbing a mountain. You might observe them struggling to get out of bed, pausing midway through a walk across the room, or finding it hard to muster the energy for a conversation. At first, it's easy to assume they're just slowing down, that age is naturally taking its toll. But there's a deeper process at work here, one that signals the body is conserving what little strength remains as it nears the end of its journey. To understand this, let's break it down logically. The body operates like a finely tuned machine, with the heart pumping blood to deliver oxygen and nutrients to every muscle and organ. As someone approaches the final year of life, this system begins to falter. The heart may not beat as forcefully, circulation weakens, and muscles receive less of the oxygen they need to function. This isn't a sudden breakdown, but a gradual shift where energy production slows, leaving the person feeling drained no matter how much they rest. Metabolism plays a role too. Normally, the body converts food into fuel for movement and vitality, but in this phase, it redirects that energy inward, prioritizing survival over activity. You might notice them napping more often, longer stretches in the afternoon, or dozing off unexpectedly during the day. These aren't just moments of laziness. They're signs that the body is scaling back, preserving what it can for essential functions. The impact extends beyond the physical. Emotionally, this fatigue can carve a heavy toll, especially for someone who once prided themselves on their independence. Imagine your loved one, perhaps a grandfather who loved tending his garden, or a mother who cooked for the family, now unable to lift a watering can or stir a pot. Frustration might creep in, or even a quiet embarrassment as they realize they can't keep up with who they used to be. For some, this leads to withdrawal. They might avoid company or stop joining in activities, not out of disinterest, but because the effort feels overwhelming. Families often misread this shift. It's tempting to urge them to push through, to insist they stay active or snap out of it, believing effort will restore their vigor. Yet this misunderstands the root cause. Forcing activity when the body is signaling rest can exhaust them further, draining what little reserves they have left. A more thoughtful response emerges when we analyze their needs. Rest becomes a gift, allowing them to sit quietly with a warm blanket or listen to soft music can ease their burden more than a forced walk. Small gestures like helping them dress or bringing a cup of tea to their chair preserve their energy while showing they're still valued. Consider John's experience as an illustration. His daughter noticed he'd stopped joining her for their evening chats, often nodding off mid-sentence or staring blankly ahead. She initially thought he was bored, until she realized he could barely climb the stairs without pausing to catch his breath. That shift in perspective let her adapt, bringing conversations to his bedside, keeping them short but meaningful. This sign demands your attention if you see it unfolding. If your loved one seems perpetually worn out, unable to rebound even after rest, it's more than just a bad day. Their body is speaking, telling you it's entering a phase where energy is scarce. Practical steps can help ensure their space is comfortable, reduce demands on their strength, and watch for sudden drops in alertness that might hint at something more urgent, like an infection. Emotionally, this is your cue to be present without pressure. A gentle hand on theirs, a shared silence, or a story from the past can lift their spirits more than any insistence on activity. By recognizing extreme fatigue and weakness as a sign of decline, you're not giving up. You're choosing to honor their limits, making their days as peaceful as possible. If this resonates with you, let me know you're following along by commenting number 2 below. It's a small way to connect as we navigate this together. Number 3, increased cognitive confusion or withdrawal. Now let's shift our focus to the third sign, one that often stirs both concern and heartache. Increased cognitive confusion or withdrawal in an elderly loved one. This isn't the occasional forgetfulness we all experience, like misplacing keys or stumbling over a name. Instead, it's a more persistent change, where someone who was once sharp and engaged begins to falter in ways that feel unfamiliar. You might notice them struggling to follow a conversation, repeating the same question minutes apart, or staring blankly in a place they've known for years. Perhaps they withdraw, speaking less, avoiding gatherings, or sitting in silence when they once lit up the room with stories. It's easy to chalk this up to aging, to assume it's just a natural fading of memory. But when these shifts deepen over months, they often point to the body and mind preparing for life's final stage. Let's unpack this with a clear, analytical approach. The brain, like every organ, depends on a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients carried through the bloodstream to keep its functions humming. As the body nears the end, sometimes a year in advance, circulation begins to weaken, and that vital flow to the brain diminishes. Neurons, the tiny messengers of thought and memory, don't fire as reliably, leading to confusion, disorientation, or difficulty making decisions. This isn't always dramatic at first. It might start with small lapses, forgetting a grandchild's birthday, or losing track of the day. Over time, though, it can grow into moments where they don't recognize a familiar face or wander in their own home, unsure of where they are. There's another layer to consider: emotional withdrawal. As cognitive function slows, processing emotions and social cues becomes harder. almost like the brain is turning down the volume on the outside world. Loud rooms might overwhelm them, conversations might exhaust them, and they may retreat inward, not because they've stopped caring, but because engaging feels too taxing. You might see shifts in mood too, irritability one day, a calm detachment the next, as their mind adjusts to this decline. For families, this can be one of the hardest signs to witness. Watching someone you love slip away mentally, even while they're still here physically, carries a unique kind of grief. It's tempting to correct them, to pull them back into the present with questions or reminders, hoping to rekindle their old self. Yet this often stems from our own discomfort rather than their need. The brain's changes aren't something they can will away. They're a signal that the body is shifting its focus, preparing to let go. Here's how you can respond with logic and compassion. Instead of pushing them to remember or engage, meet them where they are. Speak slowly, use simple words, and offer reassurance rather than frustration. If they repeat a story, listen as if it's the first time. If they grow quiet, sit with them in that stillness, letting your presence speak. Creating a safe, familiar space helps too. Soft lighting, a favorite chair, or a gentle routine can ease their confusion without overwhelming them. Take Sarah's experience as a guide. Her husband, once a lively debater, began forgetting mid-sentence and grew agitated when pressed to recall details. She learned to pivot, bringing him photos to spark memories instead of quizzing him, and playing his old jazz records to soothe his restlessness. It didn't stop the decline, but it gave them moments of connection amidst the fog. This sign invites careful observation. If your loved one is growing more forgetful, losing their train of thought often, or pulling away from the people they once cherished, don't dismiss it as mere aging. It's a clue that their mind is slowing, perhaps signaling that their time is shorter than you realized. Practical steps can support them. Limit overstimulation, keep explanations clear, and watch for sudden confusion spikes that might hint at an illness like a urinary infection. Emotionally, this is your chance to adapt, to cherish what they can still share, whether it's a smile, a touch, or a fleeting memory. By understanding increased cognitive confusion or withdrawal, you're not losing them early. You're learning to love them through the change, keeping their dignity intact as their world shifts. Number 4, frequent infections and slow healing. Let's now explore the fourth sign, one that reveals itself through the body's quiet struggles: frequent infections and slow healing in an elderly loved one. This isn't the occasional sniffle or scraped knee that heals with a bandage in time. Instead, it's a pattern where illnesses seem to strike more often, linger longer, and leave behind a trail of fatigue, while even minor wounds take weeks to mend. You might notice them catching colds repeatedly, battling a stubborn cough, or dealing with sores that just won't close. At first, it's easy to see these as isolated troubles, unlucky bouts of sickness that anyone might face. But when they pile up over months, they tell a story of a body losing its ability to protect and repair itself, often within the final year of life. Let's analyze this step by step to understand what's happening beneath the surface. The immune system acts as the body's shield, fighting off invaders like bacteria and viruses with an army of cells and responses. As someone ages and nears the end, this shield weakens, circulation slows, organs don't function as robustly, and the body can't muster the same defenses it once did. Infections that were once brushed off, like a mild flu or a urinary tract issue, now take root more easily and resist treatment. Pneumonia might recur, skin infections might flare from a small scratch, or even a toothache might spiral into something more serious. Antibiotics, which once cleared things up quickly, may now seem less effective, requiring stronger doses or leaving the person drained even after recovery. Healing follows a similar decline. Normally, when the skin is cut or bruised, blood flow brings oxygen and nutrients to knit it back together. But with circulation faltering, that process stalls. Small scrapes turn into open sores, bruises linger in deep purples, and pressure sores become a risk for those who sit or lie still too long. This isn't just inconvenient. It's a sign that the body's repair shop is slowing down, prioritizing survival over restoration. The symptoms can be subtle, which makes this sign tricky. Unlike a fever that blares its presence in a young person, infections in the elderly might show up differently. Less as heat and more as confusion, tiredness, or a sudden drop in appetite. A grandmother who once bounced back from a cold might now seem foggy and weak instead of flushed, leaving you puzzled until a doctor spots the cause. Families often feel this shift keenly. It's frustrating to watch a loved one fall ill again and again, to see a cut reopen just when it seemed to heal, and to wonder why their body won't fight back. The instinct might be to push for more medicine, another hospital visit, anything to stop the cycle. But here's where logic guides us to a gentler path. At this stage, aggressive treatment might prolong discomfort without restoring strength, especially if the body's decline is the root cause rather than the illness itself. A better approach emerges when we adjust our focus. Comfort becomes the priority, keeping their skin clean and moisturized to prevent sores, offering fluids to ease dehydration, and watching for those quiet signs of infection like a change in alertness. Simple steps, like elevating their legs to boost circulation or using a warm compress on a sore spot, can do more for their well-being than another round of pills. Think of Clara's story as an example. Her son noticed she kept getting urinary infections, each one leaving her more exhausted, while a nick from pruning roses took months to heal. He shifted from chasing cures to ensuring she stayed hydrated and rested, a choice that kept her comfortable when recovery wasn't an option anymore. This sign calls for your vigilance. If your loved one is facing repeated illnesses, coughs that won't quit, infections that return, or if cuts and bruises heal at a snail's pace, it's more than bad luck. It's a message that their body's defenses are fading, a clue to their nearing transition. Check with a doctor to rule out treatable issues. But if this pattern holds, shift toward care that soothes rather than fights. By recognizing frequent infections and slow healing, you're not powerless. You're empowered to ease their burden, making their days gentler as their strength wanes. If this insight strikes a chord, drop a number 4 in the comments below. It's a way to let me know you're with us on this journey. Number 5, major changes in breathing or circulation. Let's now turn to the 5th sign, one that often carries a profound weight. Major changes in breathing or circulation in an elderly loved one. This isn't the slight breathlessness after climbing stairs or the cool hands you might expect on a chilly day. Instead, it's a noticeable shift where breathing becomes irregular, shallow, or labored, and the body's warmth seems to retreat from the edges. You might hear them pause between breaths, see their chest rise and fall unevenly, or feel their fingers and toes grow cold to the touch. At first, it's tempting to think they're just tired or the room's too drafty. But when these changes persist and deepen, they often signal that the body is nearing its final stage, perhaps within the last year of life. Let's examine this with a clear and logical lens. Breathing and circulation are the twin engines of life, the lungs drawing in oxygen, the heart pumping it through the blood to sustain every cell. As someone approaches the end, these engines begin to slow. The heart, less forceful now, prioritizes vital organs like the brain over the extremities, leaving hands, feet, and even the tip of the nose feeling icy. Skin might take on a pale or bluish tint, especially around the fingers, as blood flow ebbs, a quiet sign that circulation is conserving energy. Breathing follows suit, shifting from steady rhythms to patterns that can startle you. Sometimes it's slow and shallow. Other times it speeds up briefly before pausing, a cycle known as Cheney-Stokes respiration that's common in life's final months. These changes don't just happen at the very end. They can begin subtly, months in advance, as the body adjusts its pace. You might notice practical effects too. Even small efforts, like sitting up to eat or speaking a few sentences, might leave them winded, gasping for air in a way they never did before. They may breathe through their mouth more or stop mid-task to catch their breath, a clue that lung function is waning. Fluid can build up in the lungs too, causing a persistent cough or a gurgling sound that's easy to mistake for a cold. For someone less mobile, lying flat might feel suffocating, prompting them to prefer a propped-up position with pillows or a recliner. Emotionally, this sign can unsettle families. Hearing a loved one struggle for breath or seeing their hands turn cold stirs a primal worry, a fear that something urgent is wrong. The instinct might be to rush them to a doctor, to demand oxygen or medicine to fix it. Yet understanding the cause shifts our response. These changes often aren't emergencies to cure, but part of the body's natural wind-down, a signal that it's focusing on comfort over exertion. Pushing for aggressive fixes might tire them more when what they need is ease. Here's how you can support them thoughtfully. Keep their space calm and cool. A fan or open window can lighten the air, while a humidifier soothes dry lungs. Small sips of water can help if their mouth dries from breathing hard. And a warm blanket over cold feet can bring comfort without overheating them. If breathing grows too difficult, a doctor might suggest oxygen therapy, not to reverse the decline, but to make each breath less of a battle. Think of Henry's story as a guide. His wife noticed his breathing grew ragged over months, his hands always chilled even in summer. She stopped urging him to move more and instead adjusted his chair with cushions, keeping him upright and calm, a choice that let him rest peacefully. This sign demands your attention with care. If you see breathing patterns change, pauses, rapid shifts, or a constant shortness, or if their extremities stay cold and pale, it's more than a passing moment. It's the body saying it's slowing, redirecting its efforts as life nears its close. Check with a professional to ensure it's not a treatable issue like pneumonia. But if it's the decline itself, focus on soothing rather than solving. By recognizing major changes in breathing or circulation, you're not helpless. You're given a chance to be present, to offer reassurance, and to create a space where they feel safe and loved. Their final months can still hold peace, and your steady care makes that possible. Let's now step into a space that's just as vital as the physical signs we've explored. Emotional preparation for families facing the decline of an elderly loved one. This isn't about the body's changes alone, but about the heart and mind of those who care for them, the ones who watch these shifts unfold. It's natural to feel a swirl of emotions, sadness, fear, even a quiet anger, when you see someone you love slipping toward life's end. You might wonder how to brace yourself, how to balance hope with reality, or how to find strength when every day feels heavier. This preparation isn't a quick fix or a checklist. It's a steady process that helps you meet this journey with grace, not just for them, but for yourself too. Let's approach this with a clear and thoughtful perspective. The signs we've discussed, weight loss, fatigue, confusion, infections, breathing changes, aren't just medical markers. They're moments that tug at your emotions, pulling you into a new reality. When your loved one can't eat a full meal or forgets your name, it's not just their struggle, it's yours too, a pang of loss for who they were. Denial might creep in, urging you to believe they'll bounce back if you try harder, feed them more, or push them to talk. But clinging to that can leave you drained, missing the chance to connect in the time that's left. Emotionally preparing means facing the truth, not as defeat, but as a way to shift your focus. Instead of fighting the inevitable, you can lean into what still matters, being present, offering comfort, and holding space for both their needs and your feelings. This takes practice and patience. Start by acknowledging what you feel. Maybe it's grief for the past, worry for the future, or guilt that you can't do more. Talking helps. Share with a friend, a family member, or even a journal, letting those emotions breathe instead of bottling them up. It's okay to cry over a memory or laugh at an old story they once told. Those moments don't weaken you, they ground you. Practically, this preparation shapes how you care. If they're tired and withdrawn, don't take it personally. See it as their body's signal and sit quietly with them instead of pushing for chatter. When breathing grows hard, your calm voice or a soft touch can ease their fear more than words can say. You're not just reacting, you're choosing how to show love in ways that fit this stage, making their days feel safe and yours feel purposeful. Consider Ellen's journey as an example. She felt lost when her mother's memory faded, snapping at her for forgetting simple things until she realized it wasn't defiance, it was decline. She started writing down her own feelings each night and brought her mother's favorite quilt to wrap around her, finding peace in small acts that honor their bond. This emotional shift isn't easy, but it's powerful. It frees you from chasing cures that won't come, letting you focus on what you can control, how you spend this time together. Think about setting aside moments for yourself too. A walk, a warm drink, a pause to recharge so you don't burn out. Your strength matters because they feel it even when they can't say it. Preparing emotionally doesn't mean you stop hoping. It means you hope for peace, for dignity, for a goodbye that feels right. As you notice these signs in your loved one, let this be your guide, not just to care for them, but to care for your own heart along the way. Let's now take a moment to clear the air around some common misconceptions about aging and death, ideas that can cloud our understanding of the signs we've been exploring. It's easy to carry assumptions about what growing older looks like or how the end of life unfolds, especially when we see our loved ones changing. These misunderstandings might lead us to miss the signals or push for solutions that don't fit, leaving us frustrated and unprepared. By sorting through these myths with a logical eye, we can see the truth more clearly, helping us respond to our elderly loved ones with wisdom and care. Let's start with a big one. Aging always means slowing down, so any change is just normal. While it's true that age brings some wear, like stiffer joints or a softer voice, not every shift is harmless. Losing pounds without trying, sleeping all day, or forgetting familiar faces aren't just old age quirks. They can be the body's way of saying it's winding down. Brushing them off as expected robs you of the chance to notice when something deeper is at play, like the decline we've discussed. Another misconception floats around, that death comes suddenly with no warning until the last moment. For many, especially the elderly, it's not a lightning strike but a slow fade, with clues stretching back months or a year. Thinking it's all quick keeps us blind to those early whispers, weight dropping, breath shortening, until we're caught off guard, wishing we'd seen it sooner. Recognizing this gradual process lets us step in earlier, not to stop it, but to make it gentler. Then there's the idea that more effort fixes everything. If they just eat more, move more, try harder, they get better. It's a hopeful thought, born from love, but it misses the mark when the body's systems are shutting down. Pushing a big meal on someone who can't digest it or urging a walk when they're exhausted doesn't turn back time. It can tire them out more. The truth is, at this stage, comfort often outweighs cure, an understanding that shifts our actions to what really helps. Here's one more. Mental decline means they don't feel love or connection anymore. When confusion sets in or they pull away, it's tempting to think they've lost touch with us completely. But even as the mind fades, emotions linger. Your voice, your touch, a familiar song can still reach them, stirring comfort even if they don't reply. This isn't about fixing their memory. It's about meeting them where they are, knowing they're still there in their own way. Let's tie this to an example. Tom thought his father's constant naps and quietness were just old man habits, so he kept nudging him to join family dinners, only to see him slump in exhaustion. When he learned these were signs of decline, not laziness, he stopped pushing. Instead, he sat nearby with a radio playing, giving his dad peace and presence. Clearing these misconceptions isn't about gloom, it's about clarity. When you know weight loss isn't just picky eating, or fatigue isn't just a bad day, you can act with purpose, checking with a doctor when needed, or simply holding their hand instead of prodding. It frees you from chasing false fixes, letting you focus on what matters, making their time calm, dignified, and loved. As we move forward, keep these truths in mind. They'll guide you past the myths, helping you see your loved one's journey for what it is and how you can walk beside them. As we reach the end of this journey together, let's take a moment to gather our thoughts and reflect on what we've uncovered about the signs of life's final stage. We've walked through 5 key signals: significant weight loss, extreme fatigue, cognitive confusion, frequent infections, and changes in breathing or circulation. Each a quiet hint that an elderly loved one might be nearing their last year. We've also explored how to prepare emotionally and cleared up misconceptions that might cloud our view. This isn't about fearing the end, but about understanding it, so you can face it with a steady heart and open hands. Let's bring this into focus with a simple truth. These signs, clothes hanging loose, days spent in deep rest, forgotten names, stubborn colds, or shallow breaths, aren't just random changes. They're the body's way of slowing down, step by step. They might not all show up at once, and they might start so softly you barely notice. But when you see them, they're a call to pay attention, not to panic, but to shift how you care, making sure your loved one feels comfort and peace in their remaining time. It's natural to want to turn things around, to hope that more food, more activity, or more medicine will bring them back to who they were. Yet as we've learned, pushing against this tide can tire them out when their body needs rest instead. The real strength lies in accepting what's happening, letting them eat what they can, rest when they must, and sit quietly with you when words fade. This doesn't mean giving up. It means giving them what they need most: your presence, your patience, and a space where they feel loved. Think about what this knowledge offers you. By spotting these signs early, you can talk to a doctor to check for anything treatable, plan for their care with clear eyes, and make memories that matter. A photo shared, a hand held, a favorite song played softly. You're not caught off guard, wondering what happened. You're ready, able to make their days as good as they can be, wrapped in dignity and calm. For many, this journey feels lonely, but you're not alone in it. Families everywhere have walked this path, learning as they go, finding ways to balance sorrow with love. Take a deep breath and know that noticing these changes gives you power, not to stop time, but to fill it with meaning. Maybe it's sitting together in the morning light, or telling them they're still the heart of your world, even if they can't reply. That's the gift you can give, and it's one they'll feel, even as their strength fades. Before we part, let's hear from you. Drop a comment below with one thing you've learned today and how you might use it. Maybe it's watching for cold hands or letting them rest without guilt. Whatever it is, your thoughts matter, and they help us keep this conversation alive. Thank you for joining me through this guide. If it's helped you see things a bit clearer, consider liking or sharing it with someone who might need it too. We'll be here again soon with more to share. Until then, take care of yourself and those you cherish, one gentle moment at a time.